I had already been ring shopping with her two closest friends and had the proposal planned out. I was going to take her up in a hot air balloon and do a champagne toast mid-flight and propose. I even had a speech written. I just never pulled the trigger on the ring because I wanted to fix the intimacy issues before committing to marriage. Incident. After relocating back to our home state, she went off to work at the summer camp. The camp was 2 sessions, 4 weeks, then 3 weeks. I went to visit her during the 4-week period and spent the day/night with her at camp. I met all the new staff and I brought her flowers and cookie dough to apologize for putting up such a fight about visiting her. I was dreading making the 4-hour drive there and back the next day. I know I was wrong to put up a fight about visiting, and I admit that I was wrong in this regard. My birthday fell between the 2 camp sessions and she came home to spend the weekend with me and my family to celebrate. When she got home, she told me that she was unhappy. She had been talking with some of the older female camp staff about our relationship. She mentioned that we fight too much, and along with our lack of intimacy, she said we had too many issues. Unfortunately, we didn't have much time to discuss the specifics that were making her unhappy. We had birthday plans for dinner and plans with my family the rest of the weekend. I really wish we would have sat down and talked through the issues before this had happened. After my birthday weekend, she went back to camp for the last 3-week sessions. That is when I stopped getting texts back from her and she wouldn't take my calls often. She stopped saying, "I love you," which was a huge alarm for me as we would always say that back to each other often. When she finally did pick up the phone, she just told me that she was unhappy and that I should not propose to her. I desperately wanted to talk to her about it, and she said she didn't want to have this conversation over the phone. I freaked out and went and bought a temporary ring to show her I was committed to her and that I had already planned on proposing. I brought flowers and drove up to camp on that Sunday afternoon. When I got there, she was extremely angry with me. She told me it was disrespectful to show up there unannounced and that I was trespassing. I had been to camp multiple times before to visit, and there was no reason I wasn't allowed to be there. I told her I loved her and wanted the life together that we had planned. I tried to give her the flowers and she wouldn't accept them. I asked why she was unhappy and why she wouldn't accept the flowers. All she said was that she had feelings for someone else. This shocked me. We had been discussing marriage for years and I couldn't imagine her being open to wanting another person. I asked who it was because I had met all the adult male camp staff and had no idea who it could have been. She refused to tell me. I asked if we could speak in her room privately and she said, "I am just warning you, there are flowers in there from him." This hurt so badly. I told her she can't accept flowers from another man, that we're in a relationship and that is so wrong. All she did was nod. I asked if she had cheated on me and she said no. I never had any reason to not trust her before, so I believed her. At this point I was crying hysterically and talking in circles. I tried to give her the ring and tell her I had planned a proposal and she wouldn't accept it. I told her she was my whole world and that I was willing to make changes and work through any issue that was making her unhappy. She just acted so cold and wouldn't even talk to me about why she was unhappy. I told her it was late and that I had planned on staying the night and talking this through with her. She told me that I am not staying and that I needed to leave. I told her I really didn't want to leave until we had time to discuss the situation. She started to get very angry and threatened to call security on me if I didn't leave immediately. I couldn't believe this girl who I loved more than anything, who was my partner, who I was going to marry, was going to call security on me. I begged her to talk things through with me and then she went to pick up the radio to call security. At this point I had to leave. I asked if we could speak when she came home from camp that Friday. She told me we could talk but that we are not together anymore. This broke me. After almost 7 years together and all the love and memories and plans for the future, she just ended it like this. with me in tears, begging to work on things. She threatened to have me escorted off the campsite and then broke up with me right then and there. On my 4-hour drive home at night, I texted her begging her to reconsider and telling her how much I loved her and wanted to make things right. She replied telling me that I needed to stop contacting her. I took the next day off work because I was an emotional mess. I had to know who this person was and how she could throw away almost 7 years and the future we had planned over someone she had met only a few weeks prior. I invaded her privacy for the first time in our entire relationship, and I logged onto her Facebook account. I saw these horrible messages between her and this guy. She had been cheating on me for weeks. I had met this guy. I shook his hand. She introduced me as her boyfriend. This person knew we were in a committed relationship, and he still pursued my girlfriend. He is a horrible person. He is a home wrecker. I was going to marry this girl. I don't like to poke fun at people who are down on their luck or having a hard time in life. But this guy is the definition of a loser. He has poor hygiene, a gross ungroomed beard, and dresses horribly. He is much older than us, in his 30s. He has no education, just a high school diploma, no career, no nothing. He is a camp counselor during the summer and the camp wilderness expert. He can't provide for her. He can't support her, let alone the family she wants. He can't provide the nice house she wanted, the nice vacations and trips we wanted to take, the expensive wedding/ring, sending our kids to private school like she wanted. She likes the outdoors and camping, and that's the only reason I see her being attracted to this person. She felt lonely and neglected because of lack of intimacy in our relationship, and she claimed that I played too many video games and prioritized my friends over her. I always invited her to spend time with me and my friends, but she would refuse, saying she doesn't want to sit there bored watching us play games. This guy showed her attention while she was away at camp. He bought her flowers and wine and chocolate. They were in this romantic environment away from society, sleeping under the stars each night. No real-world problems or stresses. She just totally neglected her commitment to me and our relationship and fell for him. She started an entire emotional and possibly physical affair. It hurt me so badly. He wrote her love letters. She told him her bed smelled like her, and he replied that he had sprayed cologne on it. She told him how amazing she thought he was and how she could smell her bed all day. He said he wished he would have kissed her the other night when they went camping together. That it was so hard to hold back their desires for each other. She told him it really wouldn't take much. He said he would blush, but all the blood was rushing somewhere else. She would send kissy faces and winky faces to him. It was sickening to read. Even to type this, it makes me feel ill. They went to a theme park together and posted pictures together on social media. She messaged him, "My mom thinks we should take these pictures down. I don't want my boyfriend looking into it or getting any ideas. I don't want to hurt anyone." Her mom was like a second mother to me. Even she knew about the cheating. He quoted closing time lyrics to her about every new beginning comes from another beginning's end. When I had left camp that night, he messaged her that he heard she handled me well. She replied, "Yeah." He was freaking psychotic. I wasn't psychotic. I was hysterically crying and begging the love of my life not to throw away everything we have built and dreamed about. I was not acting aggressive at all, and I would never hurt her. She came home that Friday to gather her clothes and belongings and move out. I confronted her about the messages I found. She told me that she didn't think what she did was cheating. She said, "I guess our definitions of cheating are just different." I showed her best friends the messages, and they agreed that she cheated and couldn't believe she could do this to me. I begged her to stay and once again told her I loved her and wanted to work through our issues together. I just wanted to know why she was unhappy and what I could do to make changes. I told her I found a cheap flight to Barcelona and that we should just be spontaneous and go and just rekindle our relationship on the way. She told me she had made up her mind and that I wasn't respecting her decision. She said she loves but isn't in love with me. She said she sees a future with this person and that he treats her the way she wants to be treated. I said, how can you see a future with someone you met 3 weeks ago? You don't even know this person. That doesn't make any sense. She told me that she made a mistake. I told her a mistake is an isolated occurrence and something you do on accident. I told her that she didn't make a mistake. It was a conscious decision she made to cheat on me, and she had been doing it for weeks. College. When we started dating, she told me how she got cheated on in high school by a guy she went to this very camp with. She told me it hurt so badly and that it was her worst nightmare. She made me promise that I would never cheat on her. I told her that I am not that kind of person and that I could never do that to her, that the guilt would eat me alive. I just find it ironic that after almost 7 years together she could turn around and do this to me. The very thing she was most afraid I would do to her. And for her to lie about it, hide it, and then deny that it was cheating. It kills me. I know my story isn't as bad as some others out there. I have read about way worse situations. Lucky you didn't buy the ring, be glad you didn't marry her or buy the house or have kids yet, people say. It still hurts. It still feels like the end of the world for me. People tell me that I'm only 26 and that it was my first relationship and that I am still young and I will find someone. I hope I find someone else. But I am afraid I won't find someone who I will love as deeply or as passionately as my ex. She was my entire world. Any comments, feedback, advice, kind words, really anything the community here can provide would be greatly appreciated.